Kupal is doing is unbelievable here this week. But let's have a look at our playing field. We are in the great state of Alabama, the birthstate of the Bassmasters. And you see our playing field right there. You're very familiar with it. 69,000 acres of fish-filled water, and one angler has absolutely dominated this all week long, Davey Height. How rare is what Caleb Kupal is preparing to do here?
Well, I don't know if I've ever seen anything like it, to be honest with you, because he's not fishing any, I'm going to call it secret places or secret holes. He's not using any secret baits that these other anglers don't have. He's got two places that he's caught all of his fish. One of them primarily milfoil, and the other one some matted vegetation. And he is just out fishing the field, and that's all it is to it. There are no secrets at Guntersville. We've been here so many times. There's so many tournaments. I think there's about 4 or 5 today. But Caleb Kupal is absolutely just fishing lights out. And he's putting everybody in the boat, basically.
Unbelievably calm, cool, collected, and getting it done. But let's jump into our Toyota Midday report and his closest pursuer right there, the COPP, Brandon Cobb, a 2-time Elite Series winner. A man so calm this morning, so jovial on the dock. You know, the tap on the shoulder game and then you run past. That's what he did to me this morning. That's how relaxed he was.
Well, the great thing, when I've watched Brandon Cobb fish over the last few years, he has fun every day out there, and you can tell that, and it's just not a lot of pressure, not a lot of nerves. He has fun, and he really seems to like this time of the year. He loves to fish when some fish are on the bed, some fish are post-spawn, maybe even a few pre-spawn like that one right there just look. But he just goes out and has fun. And I'm telling you, Dave, it's not easy to just have fun when you go fishing when so much pressure is on you. A big entry fee, trying to make the classic, trying to win AOI, trying to stay in the leagues, all those things. But Brandon Cobb does not let that affect him. He just goes out and fishes and has fun every single day.
This is a super unique championship Sunday because really, I can't overstate how rare the vibe on the dock was, just how jovial and how relaxed everybody was, because really they know they're not really in control of their own destiny. But it's great to see Luke Palmer back in the mix here this week.
It really is, especially, I mean, he's a good fisherman, a fun person to be around, just a great, genuine person. And seeing him lose all those fish yesterday morning, he lost 4 or 5 really key fish yesterday morning. There's jumping off beside the boat, and he kept his head up and had a decent day yesterday. Today, having a good day, unofficially with a little over 15 pounds, almost 16 pounds actually. The only one we've really seen in the field using a jerk bait is forward-facing sonar. He's been able to make that work, but yesterday losing those key fish really hurt him.
Well, the guy that really, it's going to be down to the wire, let's be honest. This is a tight competition, and anything can happen. Can it, Davey? Caleb Kupal is destroying everything.
Well, I hate to see him destroy the field, you know, with the big lead that he's got right now. But I will say, with Tommy Sanders and I did a preview of this event, we said it would take 80 pounds to win, and he's right there right now. But the way he's been catching them each and every day, if he fishes hard from now until check-in, which I'm sure he will, heck, he might get closer to 90 pounds, which will really be phenomenal. And I can't emphasize enough, we saw the first day, you talked with Corey Johnson, I did too. He was actually in that same area with Caleb Kupal. Caleb put the fish in the boat, Corey lost too many fish, and you know, you've got to put those fish in the boat, but if you've never fished like this, punches, vegetation, it's like a given that you're going to lose a good number of fish, and he has not done that this week.
What he has done is unbelievable and so rare. I can't overstate that enough. To lead an Elite Series event wire to wire, not just day to day, but literally the first hour of the first day. It's unfathomable and so rarely seen, and to do it here on one of the most publicly fished, one of the most pressured bodies of water in America, doing things that everybody else is doing is unheard of.
Yeah, you have to find the good areas, but the other thing, if you do locate the fish, you got to catch them. You got to put them in the boat. Mother Nature has actually been, in my opinion, very kind. Everything has worked out for him. He had 2 areas in there. He has been flipping a jig and his creature bait, a Zoom Z-Hog, but only those 2 areas, and with the wind and with the conditions that we've had this week, they're very different. One very protected with milfoil, and the other one matted vegetation. The 2 windy days, that protected area served him well. Yesterday and today, this open water matted vegetation has been his best bet.
Over to Luke Palmer, a 2-time Classic qualifier.
Well, it started out better than yesterday. Stink. Not paying attention. I don't think it was a fish. Got excited. Put me on live. Didn't know what to do with my hands. But now it started out okay. I think my jerkbait stuff is just kind of fizzling out for me, especially when I don't have any wind. If I would have had some wind today, I probably would go ahead and stick with it. But I had some bites punching in practice, and I couldn't get off the jerkbait yesterday, so I came up through here and punched a little bit yesterday late, but I was in a dadgum fizzle, fazzle, fuzzle, whatever you want to say, what was going on with my head. But I said today, once if I could catch a limit, that I was going to come and just go punching. That's what I enjoy doing. And I just kind of got keyed in on the jerkbait and the topwater in practice and didn't really get dialed in on this. So it just kind of having to go and fish a little bit and wanted to do something different. So I got a decent little limit in there. I'd like to catch me a couple 5-pounders to move on up a little bit, but we'll see. I mean, it's 10 o'clock now. I got plenty of time to get another fish in the box or two and hopefully catch a 7 or 8 pounder. I'd like to catch a big one punching. That'd be kind of fun. I like flipping one hard. That'd be all right.
Davey, is that the story of this season, or at least
They all
this
went back
last
shopping
stretch,
today?
just not getting locked into pre-fish too much?
But they all went back shopping today?
That's an upgrade. He was hooked. Hammer. Let's see how much. I think it's bigger than the other two I got too. No, I got that 2.5.
Yeah, Dave, that's a great question. I really think, talking to Caleb yesterday so much, I really tried to figure out how can he be doing what he's doing. And he didn't have a good practice. The conditions, it was very windy, a lot of clouds, and just those were not good conditions for flipping that milfoil, not good conditions for flipping these mats like we see Rivette is doing the same thing here. It really came down to that's what he does. That's what he loves to do. He loves to have that flipping stick in his hand. And he went out that first morning hoping that things might get better looking at the forecast. But really, he said he was most nervous the very first morning. And we saw him. I mean, he had 19 pounds in no time, led the event in the first hour and has never given it up. So he certainly didn't have much to be nervous about. But he only caught a few fish in the area that has been best for him, and he never went back to it after the first day of practice.
Time to get Zal dangerous.
Yeah, it's 10:15. We check in at 2, so I got 4 hours or so, and I got 4 fish in the live well. And I'm just what I'm doing here is I'm just kind of matching the conditions that we have. I mean, it is slick, calm, sunny, and I've been fishing offshore, 90% of the time, and then I'll dip in shallow just 10% of the time. And like 4 out of 5 offshore spots I have are just like, it's just matted with eelgrass, and it just makes it unfishable. So after the, you know, heavy winds we've had over the last couple of days, all this eelgrass gets uprooted. All the boat traffic uproots this eelgrass like this, and it sends it down the river. And when it sends it down the river and it floats on top of those ledges I'm fishing out in 20 feet of water, you can't make a cast without getting your bait fouled up. So we were fortunate enough to catch a couple decent ones this morning on my main spot. I will end there, but in the meantime, I'm just gonna kind of poke around shallow and then kind of look for new ledge stuff. But without wind or without current, it just makes it super hard for those ledge fish to really get on those shell bars that I'm looking for, those shell ledges that I'm looking for. On day 2, where I caught them really good, like every single cast for about an hour, the wind was blowing it right onto a ledge, and it was, I mean, it was awesome. But today we're not gonna have any wind, no current, so it just makes it really hard to pinpoint those schools of fish. So I'm gonna try to catch one right here in this milfoil stretch where I had glide bait bites in practice when the wind was blowing in here. So I'm just gonna flip around. On day 2, I caught a couple decent ones in here flipping. And then I'm gonna head back out to the ledges. I mean, my best shot at a giant bag is gonna be out there, but that eelgrass needs to clear up if I have a chance.
So that's exactly what we were talking about. They don't generate much on a Sunday. The water's clear. You really need that water to be moving to keep those fish out on the edge. And the wind, I mean, you couldn't draw it up any worse for those offshore fishermen, because as this tournament progressed, they were hoping for more fish to move offshore, and they just haven't done that. And when they are offshore, more fish have moved out there, but they're so hard to catch because you don't have that wind to break up that light penetration.
Zaldain making another championship Sunday appearance here, and this is going a long way for him as he tries to right the ship after a tough, uncharacteristically tough start to the season.
Little guy.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, he had a plan. He loves to fish offshore, and the conditions just hasn't been good for that. And, you know, just like we were talking about, Caleb, Kufal, you got to do what you do for the most part. If you're not good at something, you need to really try to get better at that, but maybe not during the competition days, during the off season or in between events. But to win an Elite Series event, you have to be very comfortable with what you're doing and how you're presenting those baits and where you're fishing. And Chris Zaldain loves to fish deeper and loves to fish offshore. But with these conditions like this, even though it's not really what he wants to do, even he knows he's got to get a flipping stick out and fish that vegetation.
Had an embarrassing moment with Zaldain this morning at takeoff. Gotta let you in on it. Unbelievable. I mean, we were having a conversation, and he was talking about how he had a giant bag. And I literally had an unplanned stutter, and I said, you got to get a giant bag. And then he started to walk away, and I called him back panicked. I'm like, I don't want him to think I'm that weirdo that, I mean, it's obnoxious enough on stage. You can't say it socially. But Chris Zaldain trying to get it, move up that leaderboard, but the problem is at the top of that leaderboard, a giant lead. Look at that. It looks fake. It's like we're playing a video game. It's like we're playing Bassmaster Fishing 2022, which is coming out this fall. But this is real life, ladies and gentlemen. The Berkeley Bassmaster Elite at Lake Guntersville. And Caleb Kufal is conquering it.
Yamaha V